Hello and welcome to another video for Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today, well, we're looking at something that's now quite old, is becoming harder and harder to find and are very collectible, especially in this near mint condition that we're looking at on this particular annual today. Now, we're looking at the 1980 Star Trek annual, and it's all based on the original Star Trek television series, which was created by Gene Roddenberry. Sorry. It follows the adventures of the starship USS Enterprise and its crew, which was commanded by Captain James T. Kirk, with his first officer, who was a Vulcan-human hybrid, Mr. Spock, and DeForest Kelley, who played the Dr. McCoy, along with Scotty, Sulu, Chekhov, Uhura, and Nurse Chapel, who were the regulars on the TV series. Now, the series ran for 3 seasons. There was a total of 79 episodes produced, and it was about 50-minute episodes. Now, Star Trek aired from September 1966 through to June 1969, before the series was, or the plug was pulled on the series, basically, which is a shame because it was such a iconic series. But then things wouldn't have happened in the Star Trek world had it continued, so it's probably fate why it didn't continue at that time. After the series finished, there was the animated series, which was produced, where most of the actors returned to the series to lend their voices, and that ran for 2 seasons. There was a total of 22 episodes, and it aired from 1973 to 1974. Now, obviously, there was a lot of reruns of the original television series as well as the animated series, and because of the popularity of the TV show on the reruns, World Distributors started to produce annuals. First one was a 1970 annual, which was released in late '69 for the upcoming 1970. And they had 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, and 1980, which was the last real regular annual based on the TV series. In 81, you had the annual, which was all Star Trek the Motion Picture, and in 83 you had the annual Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, which was obviously based on the movie, and the final Star Trek annual based on the original television series released in 1986. But this particular one we're looking at today is from 1980, and this is the annual in front of us, and it is an absolute fan-dabby-dozy copy. So this is the front of the front cover, and it says Star Trek, and you've got a big image of Mr. Spock's face. You've got the USS Enterprise flying past his head, and you've got Captain James T. Kirk on the bottom left-hand corner holding his phaser. This is authorised edition as seen on BBC TV, and you've got the World Distributors logo on the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, that's the front. Let's spin it around to the back. What have we got on the back? Well, on the top right-hand corner, you've got the SBN number, which is 723565511. And there you can see an image of Captain Kirk holding his phaser rifle. And there's a city behind him. And it says Star Trek on the bottom left-hand corner. And that staggered wording, which they tend to use a lot back in the early days. And there's the spline there. You can see it's in pretty much pristine condition. Star Trek and the World logo at the bottom corner there. Okay, that's the front and back covers. Let's open the annual up and let's have a look at the contents inside. Okay, so I've opened the front cover, and you can see just inside the front cover, so you've got some lovely artwork images here of the USS Enterprise, and it's approaching a planet, actually. It looks like it's coming to land on the planet. It says Star Trek, and you've got Mr. Spock at the very top there, and you've got Captain Kirk, Dr. McCoy, Lieutenant Uhura, Lieutenant Sulu, and Mr. Scott. And the bottom right-hand corner, you've also got the price of the annual, which is £1.75, which is what it cost brand new back in 1979. Okay, so that's the first page. Let's just move over to the second page, and you've got contents, and you've got Sport of Knaves, A World Against Itself, and No Time Like the Past. So it's 3 stories, which are all comic strip stories in this annual. There's nothing much else in it, and you've got the World and Whitman, World Distributors and Whitman logos there, which was obviously a combined company. I think World Distributors and Whitman merged at some point, and combined it, they were called World and Whitman. Eventually the World was dropped and they just become Whitman. Anyway, so the first story is Sport of Knaves, and you can see it is a full colour strip, comic strip story, and great artwork again. And you know, this book is absolutely pristine. So if in 1980 or 1979 you went into a bookstore, maybe W.H. Smith, somewhere like that, to buy the annual, this is exactly how you would have found it. It is in absolutely pristine condition, absolutely marvellous. Artwork is great as well. Remember back in 1979 we still didn't have any video recorders. I think well, they may have just been becoming available, but at a huge amount of money, I think. They really didn't take off until the 80s. So late 80s come to that, when every household had one. So we're still a long way away from that yet. But anyway, this is that first comic strip story, and that runs for quite some pages. It is a full story. So I think these comic strips would have appeared in some of the American comics over a weekly basis. But what they've done here for the annuals is they've combined the whole stories into the annual. So you've got 3 complete stories that have previously appeared in the US comics. Second one is called A World Against Itself. And again, I think the artwork is very, very good for the time. And a great story. I'm not going to read the stories, but anyone that's ever seen this annual or has had this annual knows that the stories are very good, and they do resemble the TV series in many ways, in actual fact. So, as did the animated series, it resembled the original series, but obviously without budget restraints. So, and then we finally come on to the final story again, which is No Time Like the Past, and again, absolutely excellent artwork images. And then obviously the Gardening of Forever, they're on to this one from the TV series. When they go back in time, they go through the Guardian and appearing back in time, and then their adventure begins. And whatever they've got to do back in time, they have to do correct, and then they're returned back to normal time. And go about their way, I'd imagine. Or do they come back and where they've altered time? I think perhaps they did. They came back, they altered time. So maybe they have to go back again and correct it. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember the whole story. But anyway, fascinating story, very good, and a really, really good artwork and story, and a whole overall an excellent annual, I think. As I said, the stories in these Star Trek annuals were all from the American comics, so they are excellent stories, and they're just combined into full-length stories here. So unlike the earlier annuals, these later annuals didn't have any of the other information in, or articles like behind the scenes, or information on the characters, or what was going on in the world at the time. These later ones was purely just comic strips, and as I say, that had appeared in previous comics. So how well did these annuals do back in the day, I hear you ask? Well, believe it or not, in 1979, like I say, 1979, 1980, there was still no technology that allowed us to record and watch programs at our will. There were still only 3 TV channels, which was BBC One, BBC Two, and ITV. Now, I believe Channel 4 started sometime in the 80s. I'm not quite sure what year that was, but I think if my memory serves me, it was late 80s, and the very first program to appear on Channel 4 was called Countdown. But I really don't know. I really couldn't be sure about that. But anyway, back to the point. There was no videos, no streaming services, nothing like that. So if we wanted to continue to enjoy our favourite TV programmes, the annual was the ideal way to do that, as well as comics, of course, and activity books and games and puzzles and all sorts of things like that, which were manufactured to keep your favourite programmes up there in your fresh in your minds, so that when the new series was launched, you would be eager to watch it. Because if you missed them, well, that was it. Tough luck, mate. You'd either have to wait for a rerun, and sometimes that didn't happen for years, or you've missed it. Nothing you can do about that. That was it. Tough luck. Of course, it's very different these days with all streaming service and DVDs and videos. You can watch anything you want, whenever you want, really. So very different life now to what it was then. But in order to keep, as I say, in order to keep us occupied, all of these were produced. The annuals were absolutely fantastic sellers. Most of them were produced towards the end of the year to tie in with the Christmas sales. Obviously, that was a big time for annuals, a big time when the kids would get all their annuals on Christmas morning, whatever their favourite TV series or comics or pop stars or even football teams were. There was annuals to suit, and it was a staple diet in everyone's stockings and sacks on Christmas morning. I can remember we used to get multiple annuals in our Christmas stockings and sacks. One, they weren't too expensive, and two, you got an awful lot of good enjoyment out of them, and our parents could see that. So when we got annuals, we'd spend hours reading them and quiet out their hair. So that was a good thing for their point of view as well. So yes, remarkably well, as did all annuals of the time, really right up until the mid to late 80s. When technology had changed and the annuals were no longer as prominent as they once were. Annuals are still being produced today, but nowhere near at the volume and the quantities that they once were being produced. Okay, let's move forward then to 2025, which is where we are today. So we are zooming forward by 45 years from 1980 to 2025. Do these annuals come up very often on the platforms? Well, you do see the Star Trek annuals appear on the platforms in various different conditions. There's some very, very poor ones that appear on the platforms, and there's some very good ones that appear on the platforms. So you just need to be very vigilant, but have a good look at what you're about to buy if you intend to buy on a platform, because someone's perception of very good condition could be somebody else's perception of okay condition or acceptable condition or just good condition. So just be a bit careful. Have a good look at the item you're about to order, so you're not disappointed when it arrives, and especially if you're using a platform that uses stock photographs and stock descriptions. Always make sure you click the use link to make sure that you can see and read the item you're about to order. Otherwise, you may be expecting something that is not what you think, but is not what's going to turn up. So just be a bit vigilant on that. So to recap, yes, they do come up for sale, various different conditions, semi-regular, and there's, because there was so many of the Star Trek annuals that were produced over a period of time, you will normally find some of them on the platforms. I think overall there was 16 or 17 annuals that were produced, and then there was the storybooks that were produced. I think there was four storybooks that were produced, so they do also pop up from time to time on the platforms. But as I say again, in various different sizes of condition, so just be a bit careful. This particular one we've been looking at today is actually a former shop stock item. It was never sold. It was part of a load of stock that we bought out from a closed down comic and bookshop that closed down shortly after COVID. And we were fortunate enough to go in and buy out all their comics and buy out all of their books and whatever other merchandise they had. There was some games and other bits and pieces, calendars and all sorts of things that we bought out. Unsold, so the public had never actually bought this, hence the reason why it's in as close to mint condition as you would probably find on these particular annuals. Yeah, absolutely pristine. There is just one fault I can find on it, which is a slight wear on the top corner edge there where it's been sitting on a shelf. Other than that, it's pretty much immaculate as you would find it had you gone into a shop in 1979, picked it up off of a shelf and went and bought it. So condition is very important when it comes to annuals. So as I say, so be careful wherever you intend to order from. But you don't need to listen to me. You don't have to go through all that rigmarole. You can come straight to our website where what you see in front of you is exactly the item that you will receive should you wish to order it. And this particular item today is available to purchase on the MySuch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight there where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Star Trek annuals and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles. Come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody. And I'm absolutely positive it's something you're not going to want to miss because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you are looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky that you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long-lost childhood memories. Well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful 1980 Star Trek annual with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. Say bye for now.